Hey everyone. I apologize if I've been quiet for I think the last week or so. It's been a bit of a bit of a rough week. Uh, the whole COVID thing hit really close to home this past weekend. This is really not the time or place to go into it, but just wanted to let you know I'm fine. I'm doing okay. Same with the family, but and I guess the more important thing I wanted to state was please take this serious. With regards to social distancing, wearing a mask, staying safe. Keep yourself and your loved ones safe for this. Um, that said, you're probably wondering, well, why are you doing a chapter reading now? And I guess it's because I think right now we could all use you know use something to cheer us up. A good laugh. Um, I I I know I could. So that being said, I thought I'd do a chapter reading from the Mourning Woods, which is the Tome of Bill, Book Three, and I'm sure everybody has their own personal favorites, but for me, I would call this one easily the funniest of the Tome of Bill books because the entire thing is just built around complete and utter just insanity going on. Um, it was written to be fun. The entire thing is really just from from just a goofball perspective, and it does actually majorly move forward the story of the whole Tome of Bill series. But honestly, a lot of that is in the last 20 pages or so. The rest of it is just like Bill stuck in Bill stuck in the frozen wastelands of Canada, dealing with Sasquatches that all want to and pretty much other vampires, and all of them want to kick his ass, and including his friends and stuff. So it's all just a lot of craziness. It was a lot of fun to write. Um, it still holds up for me as I'll read it and I'll still laugh at some of the jokes, which is probably pathetic. But I thought it would be a good one to give us a chapter from in these days right now because I think it's just a fun book. Anyway, I picked a chapter that's I'd say about a third of the way through. All the intro stuff is out of the way, and Bill and his friends are really close to reaching these quote unquote woods of mourning, which are up in the I believe the Northwest Territories of Canada. Took a few and this is one of those ones where I took a few liberties. Technically speaking, there's no way Bill could have driven there, and no, I understand there are no maple trees past the Arctic Circle, but there's no talking Sasquatches either. So just give it a rest. Anyway, that said, here is a brief, snippet from the Mourning Woods, the Tome of Bill, Part 3. Are we there yet? The last 100 miles took far longer than I would have liked. Thank God for four-wheel drive. Had the weather been any worse, I don't doubt we'd have had to find a village or maybe a traveling hockey team and trade in our wheels for a couple of dog teams. At long last, though, we were driving through dense, dark woods, following a trail just barely wide enough for our vehicle, when the portable GPS finally told us we were close. It was about time. We had maybe one more tank of gas left in the trailer, and our supplies were beginning to run low. I'd been starting to wonder whether we should have drained that moose just in case. Another couple of days, and I would have probably needed to start keeping an eye on Sally around my roommates. On the upside, Tom's constant zombie moaning and groaning had lessened considerably, albeit not entirely. So there was that. What can I say? I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. Having arrived at the coordinates we'd been given, we all kept lookout through the windows for, something. Geez, I complained. This is only a conference to decide the fate of the world. You'd think they'd at least have signs telling us where to park. Are you sure we're in the right spot? Ed turned and gave me his best withering glare. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere. How the hell am I supposed to know if it's the right middle of fucking nowhere? Don't get testy. I started to say in a condescending voice, but immediately had to change my tone. Holy shit, stop! He turned back to the trail and immediately hit the brakes. The car skidded to a halt just inches from the thing in front of us. It had appeared from out of nowhere. Is that what I think it is? Tom asked excitedly. From my vantage point in the back seat, I could only see the front of the car and a pair of hairy, heavy, muscular legs standing in front of it. Well, the question was answered as the owner of said legs bent down and peered into the windshield. The face that looked in at us pulled back its lips in a snarl. It was one hell of an ugly motherfucker. Take the creature from Harry and the Hendersons and then beat it with the ugly stick for an hour or two and you might be in the ballpark. Sally, Ed, and I just stared at the gruesome visage in front of us. Tom, ignoring the basic tenets of sanity, lifted his cell phone and immediately started snapping pictures. The creature noticed him and looked none too happy about it. I reached forward and smacked him upside the head. "What the fuck are you doing?" "What?" he complained. "We just proved Bigfoot is real. These babies are going up on Facebook." "Are you absolutely sure I can't kill him?" Sally asked. I glared at her out of the corner of my eye. "Let me get back to you on that." "Get out!" "Huh?" I asked. "What, Ed?" That wasn't me." "Then who?" "Get out now!" "Did that thing just talk?" Tom asked, echoing what the rest of us were thinking. I turned to Sally. They can speak?" "How would I know?" she snapped back. "Do I look like Jane Goodall?" "Weren't you supposed to ask Boston about these things?" "How the hell would I even know to ask? The only apes I've ever seen are in the Bronx Zoo, and last time I was there, they didn't talk back." "No!" the ugly face before us demanded again. This time it brought one cantaloupe-sized fist down onto the hood of the car. The entire vehicle shook from the impact. I looked each of my companions in the eye. "I think he wants us to get out." "Yeah, never let it be said I didn't have a grasp of the obvious." Ed, what do you think you're doing?" "Not being stupid," he replied, stepping out of the car, shotgun in hand. Your funeral," I commented, likewise getting out. Once we were all standing again, we had a true sense of scale for the creature looming before us. At over 8 feet in height, it dwarfed my roommates and me. Sally was just over 5 feet in heels, so I can only imagine that she felt like a munchkin, assuming they had strip clubs in Oz. The thing, Sasquatch, I guess, looked us all over. Upon seeing the gun in Ed's hands, it threw back its head and let loose what I think was a laugh. It was hard to say. Imagine trying to chortle while gargling gravel, and you'd get an idea of what it sounded like. While it did that, I felt Sally give my shoulder a nudge. "What?" I asked. "Introduce us." "Why me?" "Because you're the star and we're just your entourage." Some days I really hated being the vampire chosen one. Okay, if I was going to do this, I might as well try and act tough. Sure, the thing in front of me looked like the Hulk wearing a fur coat, but if so, I was Captain Marvel. Yeah, right. Even the most deluded sections of my subconscious weren't buying that one. I took a deep breath, immediately regretting it. Now that we were out in the air, the smell of this thing hit me like a baseball bat. I doubted there was enough Febreze in the world to fix this guy's odor. How the fuck was I supposed to function with this stench assaulting my nostrils? No, that was a defeatist attitude. I could handle this. I was a gamer, damn it. Ogres were bigger and nastier than this pile of shit, and I had faced down dozens of them over the years. I mean, yeah, sure, it was only on paper and with a 20-sider, but, same general principle, right? I stepped past my friends and looked up into the face of the brute. I smiled, fangs extended for a little bit of extra menace. "I am Bill, free will of the Vampire Nation. I believe you've been expecting me." Maybe I should have gone with Dr. Death instead. Way more badass sounding. The creature stopped laughing and looked down upon me. I had a distinct feeling that the next words to come out of its mouth would be, "Bigfoot smash!" followed by the pummeling that would make me look back longingly on my encounter with the moose. For some reason, this thought struck me as funny. I don't know why. A painful demise wasn't something I normally considered to be chuckle-worthy. Either the surrealness of this whole situation was getting to me, or I was losing my mind. Regardless, I felt the corners of my mouth curling up into a smirk. Oh well, in for a penny, I thought. I locked eyes with the creature, which I seemed to recall learning from National Geographic wasn't a particularly smart thing to do with gorillas, and continued. "These are my companions. We're here to meet with your leaders." "And why should Grog take you?" "Grog? What the fuck's a grog?" Oh, the hell with this. While I tried to avoid getting beaten to a pulp as much as possible, I was also of the mindset that if I had an ass-kicking coming, well, I might as well deserve it. Listen, Kong, I don't have time for your shit. I have business to discuss with your betters. At that, I heard multiple gasps of breath from behind me. Yeah, gotta love everybody's confidence in my abilities. Of course, how would I even know that this guy wasn't the one in charge? Oh boy. There was a tense moment of silence, during which I saw Ed raise his gun. Maybe we'd all get lucky and he'd just blow my head off rather than let me stick my foot any further into my mouth. Finally, though, the smelly-ass Sasquatch in front of me simply nodded his head. You follow Grog. Oh, Jesus Christ, Sally spat. He's Grog, you fucking idiot. Your concubine speaks with much fire, Grog said in a tone that sounded bemused, although maybe it was just me. Yes, Grog, I interrupted before Sally's temper could undo what I had gotten lucky with. That's how I like her. Sassy. If Sally could have killed me with her mind, I'm sure she would have. However, Grog merely gave what I took to be a shrug. Follow. What about our stuff, Grog? Leave here. We bring Freewill's belongings later. I exchanged glances with the members of my party that didn't want to kill me. Valet parking, Bigfoot style, Tom commented. That made about as much sense as anything at the moment, so I turned back to Grog and said, lead the way. Had I known I was signing up for a wilderness trek, I would have invested in a pair of hiking boots. Grog led us onward for what felt like at least a mile. I think we followed a mostly straight path, but the truth was I had absolutely no idea. He could have been walking us in circles for all I knew. Finally, he stopped next to a tree. It was large and old and pretty much looked like every other tree we'd passed, with the exception that it was covered in an intricate series of scratches about 7 feet above the ground. Before I could question what he was doing, Grog lifted his head and let out a piercing howl. I have to admit, it was kind of freaky. I'd seen enough movies to wonder if he was now giving the signal for an ambush. Any second now, a bunch of his hairy buddies would come rushing out to tear us apart. Not that Grog really looked like he needed the help. No attack came, though. A few minutes passed, and then answering howls rang out in the night, but they sounded far away. Once silence had again descended, I let my curiosity get the better of me. Grog, what was that for? Respect. For the dead. We enter the woods of mourning now. I heard a quiet titter behind me. Excuse me for a moment, Grog. I turned around. Unsurprisingly, Tom was standing there, a guilty look on his face. Read my lips. Shut the fuck up, I said as softly as I could and still be heard. He continued grinning, but made a lip-zipping motion. I sighed and turned back to our hairy escort. Sorry, please go on. Grog gave me what looked to be a dubious glance. Many ancestors buried here. Mighty warriors. Their spirits rejoin the land. They all around us, listening. Mighty warriors? Yes. Many laid low by the Tulunta. He spat that last word. I had a sneaking suspicion what he meant by it, but I asked anyway. Undead, he answered with a snarl before once more turning to lead the way. Oh yeah, this was going to go well. All right, there you have it. A brief snippet from the Mourning Woods, which is the Tome of Bill Part 3, and what I consider just to be a book that is made that came from the heart with nothing, with no purpose other than pure fun and entertainment, and hopefully you find it the same way too. It's a crazy adventure. A lot of stuff happens, but it also does move the story ahead considerably, and this is kind of where the Tome of Bill kind of like bumps into high gear. But we'll save that high gear for another day. I will definitely get back into doing these chapter readings. I hope this was able to put a smile on your face. I'd say it put one on mine too. And I'll hopefully talk to you again soon. But for now, my name is Rick Gualtieri, and this has been The Mourning Woods, the Tome of Bill, Part 3.